Hey guys, welcome to another Jamaican Tales video, a Jamaican living in Germany. Now, as I promised, this video is a culture shock video. It's a culture shocks about my graduation that happened like a week and a couple days ago. But before we get there, I have to tell you that on the weekend I was actually in Italy and San Marino. That was kind of my way of celebrating my graduation. I just hit my 80th country, so that's another thing to celebrate along with the graduation that happened. But that's not what this video is about, so let's dive into the culture shocks. If I'd studied in the United States or Canada or even the UK, I don't think there would be that many culture shocks. But because I'm studying in Germany where the culture is so different, that's why there were so many things that surprised me at my graduation. I think one of the biggest difference is the amount of attention or the worth that's placed on a graduation event. Back in Jamaica and of course in the States, a graduation is, you could even think of it as a center of the university year. It's like everything kind of revolves around graduation. People are looking forward to graduation, and it's not just about the people that are graduating, but also from the university perspective, because a graduation somehow is also a big marketing event for the university to showcase, the talents at the university and to showcase the excellence and all those different things. This is the event, and they go all out to make this day special for the university, for the graduates, and for everyone that's attending. Here it's like, yeah, just another event. At least that's the feeling that I got sitting at my graduation, where it's like, yeah, cool. Back in Jamaica, it's a big production. I mean, there are cameras and there are like so many photographers there, and like the entire event is covered. And back at my university, we also had a radio and TV station, so this was also being streamed live on these channels. It definitely wasn't like that at my university, because even the live stream, for example, it was just like the cameras that were in the auditorium that were used, and those aren't necessarily built for this type of event, because my friends that were watching, they were saying like we couldn't even see anything because the quality was so poor. Back at my university, there was actually a booklet with the program, so the order of the ceremony, and there were like greetings from different people and different information and so many different things there. And the biggest part of it was just the list of graduates. So all the people that were graduating, their names would actually be in the program. Now here it was very different, because it was just like two pieces of paper. One was like the program, and then the other one was just some information there. So the names were actually just projected on the screen. Now for the dress code, back in Jamaica, it's, of course, as I said, the emphasis that's placed on it, so people dress up. I mean, guys usually, if it's just a shirt and tie or even a suit and so on, and the girls, they might wear like a gown and stuff like that. Yeah, we kind of go all out for it. Here was really different, because I mean, there were people there and they were just like wearing like a t-shirt and jeans. It was a bit shocking, because I'm like, for a graduation, it's like your special day and you want to celebrate it, but then again, the culture is different and the emphasis that's placed on it. So, but somehow it was still kind of strange to say, okay, it's your graduation and yeah, this is how you came. And the difference also is, we wear gowns back in Jamaica, and like you in the States, for example. So technically you could wear whatever you want under the gowns. Wearing a vest and a suit at my graduation kind of made people stare at me. I really recognized that. They were like, some people, like, they were somehow shocked to see that I was dressed like that. They were like, okay, why is this guy so dressed up for this thing? Yes, the cap and gown. That's like a staple of a graduation in Jamaica. I mean, it's not a graduation without a cap and gown. It just isn't. And yeah, in Germany, it's of course very different. At least at my university, it's very different. I somehow didn't feel like, this is a real graduation somehow, because that wasn't there. The good thing though is that at the end of the ceremony, they actually had some caps and some gowns that you could take pictures with. Even other universities in Jamaica, they do this practice where they would invite some people from a photo studio to come to the university, and then you can have your graduation photos taken. Of course, you have to pay for it, but that's kind of part of it, like for most people, it's like a big thing. You have to have your graduation photos, because this is somehow a symbol that, yes, I've done it. But yeah, that didn't happen in Germany. I mean, there were absolutely no photos. at the beginning of the graduation in Jamaica, you usually have a processional where, for example, the faculty, the graduates, they would walk in and then they would take their seats. So first of all the graduates sit together. Now, at my graduation, there were labels like for the different seats to say that they're reserved for the graduates, but like nobody paid attention to that because like guests were actually sitting with the graduates. If it was a case where we were wearing gowns, then you would definitely want everyone to be sitting together because that would just make a nice picture. The type of music was also very shocking because looking back to Jamaica, where a graduation type of music is supposed to be inspirational, nostalgic, or classical, something with this finer touch, something like that. But the music there was like, I don't even know which genre that was, but it was kind of between pop and something like that. It wasn't bad music, it was actually good music though, because to be honest, it really helped to lift the mood of the place because I mentioned in the last video that the speech wasn't, This part blew my mind, I must say, because first of all, the topic of the speech was something very, very academical, where it was talking about, academic dishonesty and like how people abuse that within research and whatever. The main aim, I would think, of a graduation speech is to motivate people, to inspire people. You're finishing one phase of your life, you're moving on to the next. Here are some words to like take you to that next phase. But my graduation was the complete opposite. I wasn't the only one that was surprised. Like most of the people that were graduating and even some of the guests that were there, they're like, okay, this is different. So something that happens in Jamaica is that the person that is invited to do the graduation speech, they're usually someone that maybe has achieved something outstanding and they actually receive an honorary degree from the university. So pretty much they get a doctorate handed to them for whatever achievement they would have accomplished. And I was there like thinking, that would never happen in Germany. I mean, thinking of all the bureaucracy like surrounding, just saying, okay, you know what? Because you did this and this and this, we're just gonna give you a degree. Like in Germany, that would never ever happen. One thing that really blew my mind at the graduation was the difference in proportion. Now, back home, you usually have many more bachelors than people graduating with masters and doctorates. At my graduation, it was the complete opposite, where I think maybe there were twice as many people graduating with masters as bachelors, and this was over a period of like 3 years. Of course, equally important is a valedictory speech, and there wasn't one of that at the graduation. There was a representative from the student council that she kind of gave a speech that you could consider to be a valedictory speech, because she was talking about taking us back down memory lane with like being a student and so on. But it definitely wasn't completely a valedictory speech. It was more or less, okay, words from the student council president or something. That's what it was. Now, coming to the big part of the graduation ceremony. This part was probably one of the funniest parts of the ceremony, because there was just one person that was reading all the names, and he was really taking a trip around the world with those names. At my university, most of the students were Jamaicans, and pretty much you could just look at the names and you could read them. But what we did is that you got a paper with your name on it, you would give it to the announcer and you would tell them how to pronounce your name, and then they would say your name, and then you walk on the stage, you collect the degree, and then you walk off. And of course your picture is taken and all that stuff. At my graduation, it was the opposite, where this guy, he was just reading through whatever and he would pronounce it whatever way he could or he thought he should. And of course the photos, they were like done in batches, so you didn't really have your moment to shine. Oshando. Maybe we're just kind of more individualistic, or it's just the German way of being efficient. You know what, calling one person at a time to come up is like gonna take too long, so let's just call them in batches. Even though they were so efficient with calling out the names, it kind of blew my mind that we had a break for like 30 minutes. Why do you need a break for 30 minutes anyways? I mean, back home, there is no break. I mean, the graduation is like about almost 3 hours thereabouts, and it's just straight through. Because at my graduation, I think there were almost 1,000 people, and we have like two different graduation ceremonies on Sunday. So in the morning it's 1,000, in the evening it's another 1,000. So it's like you just went through with it, because then it would just be chaotic for you to say, okay, we're gonna take a half-hour break and then wait for everybody to come back in. So those are kind of the culture shocks that stood out in my mind at the graduation and also leading up to the graduation. It's definitely different from what I'm accustomed to, because even like my family and friends that were watching the graduation, they were like, what? No caps and gowns, no this, no that, and whatever. So it was like, it wasn't a shock just for me, it was also a shock for them, because we're accustomed to graduation being a certain way, and then seeing it kind of be the complete opposite. We're like, okay, what is happening? There are many questions in my head actually, because even for example the caps and the gowns, I've read that it kind of originated in Europe. So for example in Italy and Sweden, they are kind of credited for coming up with this, but it's not a very popular thing in Germany, at least at my university, and what I've also heard from other universities as well. Like, why is it that there isn't such a big emphasis that's placed on a graduation and so on? So yeah, those are the questions that are swirling around in my mind. If you guys have answers, let me know down in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching the video, and see you in the next Jamaican Tales video.